Hello, friends. Welcome back to Ghouls Night In, the spooky chat show with your best ghoul friends. I'm Penny Snark.
And I'm Midge Munster.
Midge, I want to talk to you today about a spooky thing that is part of our everyday lives.
Oh.
This is something that most of us use multiple times every day. It has been featured in a number of our previous spooky topics. It is
Mm.
both mundane and mystical. Today we're going to talk about mirrors.
Ooh, yay.
So this was a topic that was suggested by Atomic Ducky in our Discord.
Yeah.
And it is something that I have definitely thought about and just feels like a very natural topic for us. I feel like mirrors are one of like the spookiest things in horror for me.
Oh
Like,
yeah. They're one of the spookiest things in real life to me.
yeah, that's what like in
I'm very superstitious about like especially like mirrors in the bedroom, like
mhm.
dream portal-y kind of, yeah, mirrors facing each other. I'm very weird about that stuff.
Yeah, as we know, I'm not really superstitious, but I have
But
just
you are a little
always,
stitious.
a little stitious. I just have never liked looking at mirrors in the dark, just like the idea of seeing something moving behind me. Or,
Yeah.
of course, worse, your reflection doing something you're not expecting it to do. So freaky, especially because I am a glasses wearer, so at nighttime in the dark, it's kind of
Oh,
blurry in there.
yeah, no, yeah. I am also like completely haze visioned without
Mhm.
corrective lenses. So yeah, nighttime mirror gazing is not an activity I would wish on my worst enemy.
Yes. For this episode, I just have to shout out because I always love having like weird sources.
Yes,
I got this from the mirrors section on the Bean and Stock Furniture Library
bless you.
website. I know this is the world's largest collection of books and publication on the history and design of furniture and interiors. So there you
Well,
go.
there's just really a lid for every pot, isn't there?
There is. So I actually was like, how did this come to be? And I did look at it. And it was founded by the editor of Furniture World magazine. He had
Okay,
started his
sure.
personal collection of furniture related materials in 1922. And in 1970, he and his wife officially established this little research institution library, and it is still open to the public today. So thank you guys for all of your great mirror info. And if you're looking to learn more about furniture, this is the place to go.
That is fascinating. I mean, there's part of me that was at first like, what the hell? That's so weird. But then, I mean, yeah, I guess if you think about furniture from like an anthropological standpoint and how it's shifted over time to meet needs
Yeah,
and things, it is actually, I'm like, yeah, you know what? That actually is fascinating. I
it
bet.
is. Yeah, I think it can tell us a lot about the lives, the everyday lives
Right,
of the
right.
past. So thank you to those folks for their special interest that has fed mine. So obviously, there have always been reflective surfaces in the world, such as water, things like
Maybe
that.
you've heard of it.
Maybe you've heard of it. Maybe you've seen your reflection before. But the first manufactured mirrors in ancient times would have likely been from like a polished obsidian or other stone. And we see these going as far back as 8,000 years ago. So
Yeah, which, like, tell me
people
how that's not freaky.
I know. People
Polished
want to know.
obsidian.
Obsidian? It just sounds spooky, right?
Yeah, like I'm not gonna look in there and see something crazy. What do you mean?
There's got to be something crazy in there. And we next kind of see bronze mirrors. This is one of those things that, like, because it is such a human thing, like, you see them pop up in all sorts of different societies kind of around the
Mm-hmm.
same time. So, like, we found bronze mirrors from Mesopotamia, ancient Egypt, ancient China. And a metal mirror kind of remained the standard option through the ancient period. Unsurprisingly, as anyone who has like looked in your reflection in metal, it is definitely much darker and it is not color accurate, of course,
Right.
to real life. So you're not really getting the full experience. And it's in the first century that Romans create the first glass mirrors. And our word for mirror does come from the Latin mirari, or to admire, but Romans actually called mirrors speculums, from speculare, to look or behold.
Sure.
We do today have some other associations, probably, with that term. If you are listening to this podcast and have a certain configuration of your human body, you may not have a great association with this term, but I just thought that was really funny. They're
Yeah,
just
but I
like,
mean,
let
as
me
soon as you
gaze
said
into my
it,
speculum.
but as soon as you said it, I was like, well, like
Yep.
spectation, spectacle. Like, yeah, that
Mm-hmm.
makes sense.
Yeah. It all makes sense, but they even actually like called the metal that they most often made mirrors out of, like it's called like speculum as well,
Hmm.
because it was
Now
so
I'm actually more
common there.
concerned about why the other thing is called a speculum.
It's because they're looking
Because
all
they're
up
looking
in
up
there,
in there?
Midge. They're looking up in there.
I guess so.
It's to help you
Jeez.
look, to help you behold what's going on all up in there. Ugh. So, from the very beginning, we've got superstitions associated with mirrors as well as reflections. I did find a lot of places that were claiming that the 7 years of bad luck when you break a mirror tracks back to Roman times, because
Uh-huh.
it was believed that a mirror or reflective surface would hold your soul, and that breaking a
Yes.
mirror meant you were shattering your soul. And Romans believe that your life cycle refreshed in 7 years, I
I
guess.
I believe we talked about this in the superstitions episode.
We did a bit.
Yeah.
They are definitely the mirror fans. They are spreading mirror making all across the empire. But you know who's not a big fan of mirrors, Midge?
Uh, the church.
Yeah, correct. It's Christians.
Yeah. It's usually the church.
It's
when they're not a
true.
fan.
Yeah. Apparently, early priests were forbidden from owning mirrors because they were seen as a symbol of vanity and sin. Obviously,
Well, sure, it's right there in the seven deadlies.
it's exactly, and what could be more sinful than looking at yourself?
Yeah, well, call me a sinner.
It's true. It is true. We do love those. So we're entering the Middle Ages. Mirror making kind of falls off at this point, as many things did. But we have some major advancements in glass making when we get to the Renaissance.
Yes.
So it's important, I think, to kind of remember that up until this point, mirrors are really only like hand sized or maybe face sized. Like you would not have a mirror that was big enough to like look at your entire body in.
Yeah,
Um,
no fit checks in Roman
no fit
times.
checks. And it is Venetian craftsmen during the Renaissance that kind of developed the technology to make these big, beautiful mirrors. And this becomes like the status symbol, because
Yeah.
mirrors are incredibly expensive and valuable at this time. There's a story that was cited in this article about like someone who traded her country estate for a mirror and was like, great deal, y'all. Like, got rid of this property and I got this sick ass mirror.
She cut the coupons. She
Hell
got
yes,
the
she did.
got the mirror with the estate coupon.
Right.
Wow.
And of course, this very much emphasizes how incredibly opulent and even like really a triumph of craftsmanship something like the Hall of Mirrors at Versailles is. That
Sure.
is kind of in this period that they're developing that. Like, even
Yeah.
today, it's like, whoa, this is incredibly cool. But like, this was next level, like fancy shit back in
Right.
those days. But Midge, you might be wondering, is making mirrors super dangerous? And the answer is yes.
Yeah, I wasn't wondering because I know how they were making mirrors. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, first off, you got all this molten glass, which is
Mhm.
going to be a bad time in itself. And then you're like, what's this coating that we're using for our reflective backing? Oh, there's mercury in here.
Mercury!
It's mercury.
Yeah! It's a massive amount of mercury.
Love that. Yes. So there's a variety of different kind of meldings of silver and mercury that are most like often used to put the backing to make mirrors extra reflective, and it's not great for you. Not great to be working with mercury. But it's also not it's not only dangerous to make the mirrors, it is also such a closely guarded secret at the time that it's also kind of dangerous just to know how to make mirrors.
Ooh.
Apparently, I cannot confirm. I did read this in an article about the mirrors, but it said that guild members who knew like mirror making secrets, if they went traveling, the guild would like hold their family until they returned, like to keep them from like absconding with mirror secrets and like going somewhere else to
They
show
were in the
them how to
mirror
make the
mob.
mirrors.
Yeah.
You gotta
Whoa.
be careful. But unfortunately, this was not successful, and eventually, through combinations of corporate espionage and bribery, the secret gets out. More people start making mirrors. The French start making them, and it's all
Ah.
downhill from there.
Oh, not the French. Sacre bleu.
Sacre bleu. And the next question might be, Penny, how do mirrors work? Uh,
Hey, Penny, how do mirrors work?
Thanks for asking, Mitch.
You're
Uh,
welcome.
Famously, I would say, one of the things that is most spooky about mirrors is they don't show us exactly what's
Yeah,
there
right.
or exactly what we would expect.
Famously, as the side mirror on my car tells me, things in mirror are not what they appear.
It's true. They are not what they appear. And we know, of course, a mirror image. I will tell you that I read the description of how mirror images work very many times. And even though people all said the same words, those words they went into my brain and I was like, I see the you, but I don't really know what you mean. Uh
You're doing the like smiling and nodding, like,
exactly.
ah, yes.
Yes, because
Ah.
Midge, you may think that mirrors flip things left to right, because if you've ever looked at, a shirt that has writing on it in the mirror, it's
Right.
flipped. But it doesn't really do that. It flips you front to back. And
Wait, oh, now what?
okay, so
Oh, it puts that thing down, flips it, and reverses it.
yes,
That
you
I
see,
gotcha.
you get it,
Yeah,
Midge.
it's the Missy
Okay,
Elliott effect. Okay.
I read this paragraph. This is just from the Wikipedia about mirrors, and I need to explain it to you. I need to read this to you just because as I was reading it, I was like, "Well, this is a horror movie right now."
Okay,
Uh,
yeah.
okay, so it says a mirror does not actually swap left and right any more than it swaps top and bottom. A mirror swaps front and back. To be precise, it reverses the object in the direction perpendicular to the mirror's surface, the normal, turning the three-dimensional image inside out, the
No.
way a glove stripped off the hand can be turned inside out. When a person raises their left hand, the actual left hand raises in the mirror, but gives the illusion of a right hand raising because the imaginary person in the mirror is literally inside out, hand and all.
Now,
What?
now, what exactly do you mean by
What? What? So, okay. So I did the thing that was most helpful was I did watch like a video of like a physics professor talking about this, and he was basically like, the reason that it seems weird is because you as a person expect that a person facing you is like a real person who is opposite you. So, like, I recognize if you and I were standing there facing each other, I
right? It's
know
like
that
Uncanny
my
Valley.
left is the opposite of your left.
Right.
But it doesn't do that in a mirror because it's just showing me what's exactly there. But so it like freaks you bean because you think
Is
that
that the scientific term? It
yes,
freaks your
yes,
bean.
it freaks your bean because you think it's there, and that it is actually front to back because if you're facing a mirror and there was a person there, like you're oh, see now I'm confusing myself again trying to explain it. I don't know. I hope that our ghouls out there are not just like, wow, this is the stupidest
I
person I've
don't think
ever heard in my
I
life.
don't think they
But
come here to get scientific facts.
I
I
just,
think we're
I wanted to be helpful and explain things, but I don't understand.
well, and also, am I mistaken? Because I always thought it had something to do as well with, and this is just my perception. I don't even know if this is true, but like our eye works like a camera lens,
Mm-hmm.
basically. So when we take in information too, it's getting like mirrored, more like
Yes, it
flipped
flips around.
around.
Yeah.
So then when you like double, you're making a double mirror effect almost when you're looking in the mirror and your eyes also mirroring the image into your brain. Yeah, that's it's all topsy turvy.
Yeah. Yeah. It was like, oh, the reason that your writing is the opposite is because it's on like the wrong side to you. Like it is the letter that is on the right side of your body is still on the right,
Because
but
it's like
it's
showing you actually what you would look like if you were standing in front of you.
yes. Which seems I'm like this seems like it should be simpler than it is. But that's all I got, you guys. I read
So
this
the point
thing.
is, guys, it's freaky.
The point is the person in the mirror is inside out apparently,
And is actually you, maybe?
and is you.
Actually?
But yeah, there were
Because
so
if
many
they're looking
descriptions
at
that were
you,
just
you're
like
backwards?
it was like imagine your twin, and I'm like, oh, this is already freaking me out, man.
Imagine your twin. You. No.
No,
You just
I'd
close the
rather not.
computer.
But we think about like the distortion of a mirror, the fact that it's not quite what you see. And I know that's always the thing that they say that like when you take a picture, the reason that it looks different is because of how like you're used to seeing yourself in a mirror, so you don't know what you
Right.
actually look like.
That's the part that really freaks me out is that
Yeah.
like even though we look at ourselves all the time, we don't actually know what we look like, and then if we like passed ourselves on the street, we probably wouldn't recognize us.
Ugh,
That freaks me
spooky.
out.
That is very spooky. And of course, we also like that's just a normal ass mirror. Like you think of a funhouse mirror that is purposefully like built to distort, and
Mhm.
it's such an uncanny experience to see something and you believe like your brain is like if I see it in a mirror, it must be real, but you see something that you know is not right, and it's just
Mhm.
like what's this?
Is there like there I wonder if there's an account of like well, not the first time I guess cuz like you said people looked in water and stuff.
Yeah.
But I feel like the first time somebody saw themselves in a like a glass surface must have been really jarring.
Yeah, that definitely. It
Be
must
like
be just to be like, "What?"
because there was part of me that's like, "Whoa, that's me." But then also before that they might not have like known what they looked like, really? Because they're
Yeah,
not like looking
yeah.
at pictures of themselves and things. I don't know. That's
Well, they
so it's
wouldn't even
so
have
weird.
pictures, Midge.
That's what I was saying. They wouldn't have
Yeah.
been, yeah, like,
Yeah, no pictures, no nothing. I do wonder like this you want to talk about it as I was researching mirrors. I'm like this is what's really fucking me up is I'm like how different would your perception of yourself be if you had never seen your own face?
yeah,
Like, what?
yeah. Well, I mean,
What?
that's probably why all these rich guys thought they were wicked hot for centuries.
They're like, I'm doing great.
Yeah, I get bitches. And then the mirror
Yes.
came along and they were like, oh
Humbled.
no! Oh, now I have to invent misogyny. Ah.
Curses. Uh, but yes, we have talked, as we mentioned earlier, several times on the pod about some superstitions regarding mirrors, just because pretty much every time we've talked about superstitions, mirrors come up because people are
Mhm.
like, those are weird. There's probably something freaky going on. Because I know, as you kind of alluded to earlier, we have definitely talked about the belief that mirrors can be a gateway for spirits or other spooky things that can come through. There is a history in many cultures of covering mirrors after a death. And
Mhm.
I was first aware of this in the Jewish tradition, with the idea that you don't want a mourner to be distracted by their own appearance. But
Mhm.
there have historically been concerns about leaving an opening for evil spirits to enter the home in the time of death, kind of while the door is ajar.
I don't remember if we talked about, I thought maybe it was during, was there an episode where we specific, what have we done here? What
What have we done?
have we done here? Was there an episode where we specifically talked about keening women? Or am I
Oh,
making that up?
in your Banshee episode,
It was
you
in the
talked
Banshee.
about
Okay,
keening. Yeah.
that's okay. Because I think that was like part of the keening woman's job. Also, was to
Yeah,
cover all
to
the
cover the
mirrors in the
mirrors.
home.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I was going to shout out another episode of ours, which was our
We got
sleepover episode where we
episodes for
talked about
days.
Bloody Mary,
Yeah, yeah,
um,
yeah.
a
I need you
dark
to know that
power.
I have a notebook pad in front of me where I was like taking notes of things to bring up, and I just wrote Bloody Mary
Hell
in
yeah.
case you didn't bring it up. I assumed you would.
Oh, you got to bring up Bloody Mary. I mean, I know we talked about this a bit in the sleepover episode, but that was definitely a thing that deeply spooked me as a
Oh yeah,
child.
that's my like villain and origin story. Remember, I got locked in a bathroom.
Oh
We've t-
yeah. Yeah,
yeah.
I do remember that. I also was shut in a bathroom by a rude older child.
Mm-hmm.
And was very scared. And then I don't think I really talked about it, but mirrors, of course, are also part of vampire lore. You
Oh
don't
sure.
see a reflection. So I've been seeing people claiming that it's because of the silvered back of the mirror, because like silver,
Oh,
but
because silver and
I
like evil.
would, yeah, I would think it probably has more to do with the idea that like a mirror shows your soul and like a vampire doesn't have a
That's
soul, would be my
yeah.
guess. But I like the flavor of the silver kind of reference there.
Yeah. I was thinking so what you were talking about with the, the mercury glass
Hmm.
mirrors. I recently toured a historic estate
Ooh.
for an oncoming purpose of which Pennifer is aware.
Ah, yes,
But
I am.
there are some very cool old mirrors in this house, and I had never heard it referred to as this. They were talking about the mercury mirrors being diamond dust mirrors, and
Ooh.
that like that was a very exciting thing that in certain light, if you were looking in the mirror and the light like came through these windows, the mirrors would sparkle,
Oh,
and it
yeah.
was like a big deal. And then I was laughing to myself because I was thinking about vampires sparkling. And I was like, but they can't even see
They
themselves.
can't even enjoy it.
They can't.
That's rough. I'm sorry, vampires.
I'm sorry, you
Uh,
can't see the diamond dust.
Right. Before we talk about more spooky mirrors, I did also just want to shout out that there are, of course, also positive associations with mirrors. Mirrors are a big part of feng shui practices, to let
Mhm.
you kind of redirect the energy, and also the idea that they can amplify the good things in your home. So mirrors don't have to be bad and scary; they can be nice. Uh, but there are also lots of horror movies that focus on mirrors or involve mirrors. I mean, I think obviously the first thing I had to shout out was Candyman.
Yeah.
Very much connected, as we have talked about, with kind of this Bloody Mary concept, this idea of a mirror as a spooky gateway. And of course, just like, shattering glass, I feel like is always scary because, you could cut yourself. So
Yeah.
that's a real life
Real
danger
life
to
fear.
layer in with your supernatural dangers.
Yes.
I also think about Black Swan. Uh, that's
Oh yeah.
definitely a good one for like the mirror figure doing things that you might not
Yeah.
expect. um and Us, which has obviously a general doppelganger theme, but also
Mhm.
very evocatively uses the hall of mirrors like a funhouse mirror um
Yeah.
in the show. And I just watched, because I was doing this episode, have you seen Oculus?
No, I don't think so.
So this is a Mike Flanagan joint.
Oh,
So
okay.
I was like, interesting. I would say kind of middle of the road. I wasn't a
Sure.
huge fan, especially because I felt there was not enough mirror focus. Like the mirror was like haunted, and so it was mostly about the haunting. And I'm like, you could have done more spooky mirror stuff, I feel.
I would have really liked some more spooky mirror
I
stuff.
really would like some more, and but that could also just be my own what's it called, my bias as a person who was preparing an episode about spooky mirrors. And I was like, could have used more mirror,
So,
Mike.
so did you watch this in preparation for this episode? That was the first time you'd watched it?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So you were like, "Where's the mirror, Mike?"
Yeah. So I mean, the mirror is very present, but I'm like, man, there could have been so much more mirror action in this movie. So i
Is
was
that
i
the
was
one
looking
with
for a mirror centric story.
is that the one with Karen Gillan?
It is, yes.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I've not seen it, but I remember seeing the like promotion for it where they're standing in
Yeah.
front of that big black like spooky mirror.
Yeah, it was a very spooky mirror. I liked the concept a lot. I thought there was a lot of good stuff there. I feel like the script didn't totally support it, but
Sure.
so it
Well,
goes.
we'll cut you some slack, Mike. It was like 2012 or
It's
something.
true. Yes, that this is an early option. But it is funny because you watch it and I'm like, "Yep, I see those Flanagan themes
I
in
see
here."
that. I see the Hill House a coming. Yeah.
Uh-huh. 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 Do you have other spooky mirrors that you'd like to shout out, Midge?
I mean the mirror scene, like I mean, just you said Fun House. There's a scene in is that in It Part Two? There's like a
Oh,
Fun House like Hall of Mirrors
yeah.
moment in
Yeah.
that's very cool. And there's like a kid behind glass that he's trying to like break the into the mirror,
Yes.
and then he
Yes,
breaks the mirror
yes.
and it's Pennywise.
Hate
Um,
that. Don't you hate when you're trying
hate
to
when
rescue someone and it's
hate when
just
I do that.
stupid Pennywise again?
I mean, the biggest thing too that comes to mind is just like scrying. I mean, it's such
Mm-hmm.
a big thing in witchcraft, in
Yeah,
fortune
for sure.
telling throughout history. And I believe technically scrying can be any reflective surface, because when you are like talking about a crystal ball or anything like
Mm-hmm.
that, you're technically scrying. But as a rule, like a hand mirror is used as like as a portal to see the future, to see into the other realm. So definitely a lot of history of mirrors being tied to the spirit world.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
And also a history of me staring in my hand mirror at my desk as I read mirror explanations and try to
Trying to
figure it out.
understand.
Try to the mirrors are just so mystical, Midge. My human brain cannot comprehend how it is. Fucking mirrors, how do they work? As the insane clown posse would say.
That's just the title of this episode is how does that work?
How does it work? Yeah, I mean, I feel I definitely like I kind of had like a bunch of different threads I wanted to go down here, and I almost went down like a whole like doppelganger thing, and then I was like, that could be its own
That's
episode,
a
so I'm
whole other
gonna
thing, mama.
gonna stay away from that for now. But I just think any kind of a reflection is something that is very like innately strange, just because
Yeah.
like we said, you are existing in your human body and then suddenly you're kind of like seeing it from the outside, and it's weird. It's weird that we can do that.
Yes. You know what? I agree.
Thank you. As I was prepping this, I was like, this is gonna be on like the same kind of vibe as like the sleep
Space.
episode where
Yeah, or space.
where
Yeah.
I'm just like, what's that about? I don't think I like it.
Hey,
I
my
don't know
brain
about
can't
that.
conceive of this, and that makes me hate it.
It does, and I'm now like looking at my hand reflection in the window, which isn't a real mirror but is a glass that is reflecting me, and I feel surrounded on all sides by reflections at this point in time.
Yeah. You ever done well, you don't have a you've never have you lived in a house like with a dog or anything that you've
Yeah,
had to
yeah.
like
When I was growing up,
okay,
I had dogs.
because like sometimes I have to get up like in the middle of the night to let Ross go out
Hmm.
the back, and there have been a few times where I like see my reflection in the glass of like the
Oh yeah.
patio door. Be like, oh,
Oh, what's that?
And it's like, I don't know, it is funny how our brains can't be like, oh, that's me. Like,
No, yeah.
but why? But why does it have that reaction? There's a biological reason why we have those impulses. And when you see something and your brain is for a second like, that's not me, there's some truth in that. It's not
It's
you, and that's
true.
scary. It's something else that
It's
looks
an
like
inside
you.
out person who lives
It's
in
an
your mirror.
it's an inside out glove human.
Don't like it.
And that's
Ugh.
the plot of Inside Out 3.
Yes. It's all about how mirrors work. Enjoy. I hope you all enjoyed this strange venture into the mirror realm today. If you are interested in suggesting a topic for an episode, you could come hang out on the Ghouls Night In Discord. We chit chat about fun and spooky things, talk about episodes, share cute outfits, and we're gonna read some books probably. So if you like any of those things, you should come and join us and hang out. And if you would like to see more of this podcast, you can follow us on the Instagram at Ghouls Night In Pod. And if you really liked it, we are desperate for some fresh, hot reviews.
Please. Please give us your
Please.
reviews.
We're so hungry. We're going to be
The reviews after this are going to be like, Midge and Penny don't seem to understand basic concepts, question mark. Do not listen to pod. Hosts are idiots.
Oh no. Yeah, probably if you're a physicist, maybe don't leave a
Don't
review after
review.
this episode at least, because we don't know how it works.
If any scientists are still here after space, I think we're in the clear.
That's true. That's true. If they're still here, they can hang. They're chill. All right. Well, I already mentioned our Instagram, which usually goes after. So now I will just tell you that if you want to find me, you can find me at Penny Snark.
And you can find me all over the web at Midge Munster.
And until next time, goodbye.